Okay, so guys, today we'll try to see how we can read data from a CSV file and what are the different parameters we can use. And then we try to use all these functions on top of it. So Pandas has a direct, I think initially we have seen one example with this, but now we'll have to see everything. We have something called read underscore CSV. Pretty much earlier we have seen it. But before that, I just need to create a file. Give me a minute. I'm trying to create a file for reading the data. So I have one file and the location, which is a CSV file. And this is the emp.csv file. Now, if I look for print of FP, and this is a CSV file. And I think if you recollect, we discussed much about different type of files. We have a CSV file and we have tab separated file and uh, also we have maybe any other different type of character based separated files. It could be pipe or it could be anything. And also other side will have fixed width file. In a fixed width file, you will have, so just give some clarity to refresh your mind. Say if I have data something like this, I'm just trying to get a sample data. So see, this data is a comma separated value file. Okay, in case like if you create a notepad with this data similar to this, and it is going to be called, or it is called as a comma separated file, because every column here separated with comma. In case there is no value, immediately you can notice a comma immediately. Means this column is a null value. And similarly, same file. Let's say if you are preparing a file with a different character. Let's say now I am making it as a, I'm using a pipe symbol or a pipe character to differentiate. So this is a pipe separated file. It is a comma separated file. So this comma separated file also popularly known as CSV. CSV means a comma separated valued file. And we can also have a tab separated file. We can also use, right now in the notepad, it cannot show. So here one tab, here tab, here tab, here tab, everything. So if it is, in case it is separated with the tab, that is called tab separated, or also popularly known as TSV. So this is all one set. It could be anything, but most familiarly people use comma separated value file. Advantage of comma separated value file is you can open it directly in a Excel. That is the advantage. In case if you don't want a separated file, if you do not want columns to be separated with a delimiter character, you can specify, wait, say now, so this is a employee number. So throughout all rows, starting from 1 to 4, it is going to be employee number. And then from 5 to whatever number you have, it is going to be employee name. Say the first row has employee name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 characters. But in case you have second row, employee name has 10 characters. So then you need to give all spaces over here. Okay, when you are preparing the file itself, we need to take care. So now the second, so this guy name is, assume that something different. Second. Hello? Hello? హలో వంశీ కదా ఇప్పుడే కాల్ చేసి చెప్పు ఇదేనా నీ నెంబర్ Sorry, I got it. Okay, yeah. So now, here the second row has some extra character, but the first row employee name is ending with something else here. So in this case, right, what you can do, you try to find out what is the maximum length going to be there for the employee name, because this is the employee name, and you try to give the spaces for remaining all characters here. Smith, okay, though it is a 5 characters for the first row, okay, but your maximum size for your employee name is going to be something else bigger than this. So the rest all will go as a blank spaces. So now just give a thought. Say for example, if you have a string something like this, you are reading data as a complete string, right? In case you want to split this, you can use split function in Python. And in case if you are using this, you can also use slice operation. Like you can bracket and then we can say starting position and ending position, right? In the similar case, In case your file is something like this, what we need to do? We can use always, if your data file is already having some huge number of rows, and you can directly, rather than reading records and then using a split function or using a slice function to get your columns, and always you can use a library called read_CSV. So first you find out where is your file. Okay, this is your file, and then you can read the data directly from this particular file using pd.read_CSV. So this read_CSV, it will take so many parameters, but to start with, first I need to specify from which you need to read the file. So this is our FP, this is the file path, and including the file name. And then you need to specify what is the separator. So these are the two mandatory parameters required. So what is the separator? Whatever so far we explained, what type of separator it is using, and this is. And also remember, since you are reading read_CSV, this library can work any type of delimiter. It could be a comma, pipe, tab, or anything, but it will not read your fixed width file, which I mentioned, like if you are giving a fixed position for every column, and those files we have to read in a different way. But the name itself, read_CSV, it can help to read data directly from this particular file, and you don't need to worry about splitting and all those things. So right now I didn't mention anything except 1 and 2 parameters. Okay, then I am trying to read it. Let's see what happens if I say I'm going to give it to some data frame. And I'll try to read DCSV1. First of all, you can see, you can notice it is reading the data. Okay, but the one observation what you can see is I just gave only parameter. First parameter is a path, and then second parameter is a delimiter. All well. But when you look at the data, all records are reading. We have all the record, but you can see it is taking the first row as a column name. First row as column names. But in my file, I don't have any header. So header again we discussed, if you remember. So this is the data I have. In my sample file, I have data sample file like this. So there is no header. And that's why the first row, 7369, is taking it as a header. Now, say, but this is something wrong actually. Why? Because the first, your, say example, somebody gave you some data, it has some credit card transaction. Okay, that you are trying to load into some database, and you are using it through Python. So this file has first transaction, because assume that it has like 10,000, 10K records, and all credit card transaction amount. And the first credit card transaction amount is something 1 lakh. And by mistake, you are reading it. And what happened? The first record is treating as a header. So when you read them and then load somewhere, so you'll be missing first record. So almost 1 lakh transaction will be missing. So that's a very dangerous situation. Maybe for us, when you are looking, it looks very simple because you read the data, no matter some record is there, we are missing. In a practice sessions, okay, but in a real scenario, it is very, very dangerous. Okay, even if there is a very important transaction, if it is a first record comes, if you are skipping it, then you are gone. So two things. First, you decide your file, you have a header or not. And now in this case, we don't have a header. Okay, so I'm going to specify header equal to none. Same, but I just mentioned as header equal to none. And now this time I'm reading it. Now you can see it is reading the data, okay, but it is not taking the header from the input file. So third parameter which I mentioned header. So header parameter will check if you want header or no header. So when you say none, it is not going to take the header from your file, input file. Say for example, now I am going to say header equal to, this is one, and I'll take one more here. And DCSV. Now what I mentioned, if you look at here, right, this is exactly equivalent to this. So previously also, when I use this method, so it was taking first head. So by default, header equal to 0. If you don't specify, it is going to take first row as a header. So this and this both are same. But if you do not want to take, means if your file does not have a header and it is going to, you need to say header equal to none. Okay. Say, for example, now there are two things. One is you can say, now you can go and then add, let's say in some, most of the situations, you will have header. So now I am going to add some header, like we know this column names, right? Let me check column names. So this is my header information. Header means most header means the generally in a technical terminology, first row is a header. But in a business terminology, header means the column names is something called header. So always in header, we'll be specifying column name. So this header information I'm going to add in a file. So currently, you can notice I'm saying that header is none. So I have added the file with this particular row. So I added this row in a first row in a file, and now I'm reading it. I'm saying header none, don't take header. And DCSV1. Now you can say this is also danger scenario. So now I have a header in the file. Okay, this column I've added as a first row in a file, and then I'm reading the file and I specified header equal to none. So you told pandas that there is no header information. Means don't take the header from the file. So read all the record. So it is also reading the first line, which is actually wrong. This is not a data. If you take these rows and then try to insert somewhere, it will fail because this is not a row actually. This is the data, this is a header. So understanding the file information is very important when you are reading, whether you have the header or no header. If you have a header and then if you say none, then this is going to happen. If you don't have header, if you say header, you want to take header, then that is also gone. So you need to act accordingly, whatever you have there. So currently, now I have a header. So what I need to do, I need to use this method. Header equals 0 means in my file, first to record means that is a 08 record. See, this is a 0, right? Sorry, here it is 0. 0, right? So first 0 record, you need to take header. So in this command, I am telling that you take 0 record as a header or 0 row as a header. So now after this, let's see how this is going to come. Now you can notice all your file, all your data is now properly reading it. So EMP number, ename, job, all showing column names. And even if you take all the column names and all that it is showing. So ultimately, to conclude here, header none means we are telling don't take header from the file. So all whatever rows we have in the file, you read them as it is as records only. Say in case you have a file, okay, and you need to use first row as a header, means in the file, whatever first row you have, you need to use these values as header information because they are the column names. So in that case, you have to specify header equal to 0, means which record you want to take as a header. So that is 0, means this 0. Already you have seen, if you don't have header, if you try to put 0 here, then this value, the data will come as a header. So now this is perfect because file has header. I also told you take 0 record as a header. We are good. Okay. And similarly, there is now you can notice this is the command we use, right? So, and these are the rows we have 7369, 7499, all this coming. So now in some situations, we want to read rows, skip some rows. So take first row as header and skip. When you are reading, don't read 2 records. So now you can see 7521. It started from 7521. And also 7499 become header. So the reason is header equal to 0 and skip rows equal to 2. So what happened? 1, 2, 3. So this is your data 7369, 7499. And we are telling, and before that, this is the full data. So 0 is this. This is the first row. Second row 7369. Third 7499. Okay. So since we mentioned skip rows 2, so it is skipping 2 rows. First these 2 rows it is not reading it. And then we told we have a header equal to 0. So who is the third row here? 7499. So 7499 is taken as header here because the initial row was skipped it. So sometimes this will really helpful. Okay. And the reason is sometimes what happens when somebody giving you the data, they will give, okay, in first, okay, this is okay, somebody gave this data to you. So this is very quite common that when somebody sharing the data, this data is not yours, somebody sharing you. And if forever you are going to, you both persons who is giving and then who is taking, they are going to be there in the flight, no worries. But you may there and you may not be there. And tomorrow somebody else and comes start reading the data. And so that's why people sometimes will start giving some good indicators in the file that to understand what is actually file. Okay, this is credit card transaction data and total number of rows in the file 200, and then this is the header and this is the data. So in this case, so now when I read it right, I want to take the third row as the header and I need to skip first 2 rows because that is not the data. So that is only for information sake. So in this case, this will help. Skip 2 rows. After skipping 2 rows, it will become 0. So header equal to 0. Okay, so that's why all properties are very important because project will not be the same every time. There will be a lot of things will come in. So path, separator, and skip rows, header. All these are very, very important. In case if you want to, let's say sometimes what happens, right? Say if you want to give currently header, I kept it as 0, right? In case you want to give maybe a different row as a header, you can also specify 1 or 2, whatever you want it. Similarly, you can also specify data. Currently, we just reading it, that's it. Okay. But in case you want to specify column names of your own choice.
Sir,
Yeah.
header equals to 2 means the second index of the row we will get the as header, sir.
Yes. If you say header equal to the second row, 0, 1, 2, this is right. This will take it as a header.
Okay, sir. Then we have to give only the header row number.
Yes, yes. Header row number you have to give. So when you say header, let's say you have a header here. So mostly, practically, generally header will not go to the next in between. But to handle all these scenarios, the property is there. Okay, but to answer your question, whatever number you give, that is nothing but this row number. So that it will take as a header information.
So then what is difference between none and zero? Like those both act same,
None
sir.
means, no, none means you are not taking. None means when you say none, it won't take header from the file. It won't look at for the header from the file. And the header will become 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a default header. 0, 1, 2, 3. When you say header none, let me show it. You have a header, but I told header equal none. So everything it will read as it is. And your header, there is no name of the header. It is a default index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you say header equal to 0, it will take this row as header value. So this will become here, this will become here, this will become here. So header equal to whatever you specify, that is your row number. And those values are going to be taken as a column names. So if you are confused with what is header, header is nothing but a column names. Okay, and also say for example, now header equals 0. Okay, fine. Where is it? Okay. So here I'm using the same parameters, header equal to 0. And now I don't want to take the header information from, because header equal to none, I can say. Currently, I'm just saying header equal to none. And I am not also skipping anything, everything it is reading. And now I want to use my own names. All underscore column. What it is a list. What it has all the values. Sometimes underscore creates a problem. Okay, all columns. And this all columns I am running now. This one. Now I'm using this all columns here as the names. And now okay, so I'm not taking. See, your file has the header, but I told none. So it will read everything. And now I want to use my own column names. Maybe employee number 1 or could be anything. So because I have a choice of column names and it is already there. So I want to use these as the columns. You can see these column names are used. To prove it, I'll change the column name for a indication purpose. Now you can see to prove that I kept the EMB name in all columns. So my column names are taken from this. This is the proof. So this is coming from the file input. In file, I have this one. Again, this is also wrong because you are reading all, but this record is not, this is not a real header. So now you know the solution already. What I can do, I want to use my own columns. I'm not taking header from the file. Fine. I'm giving my own column names. This is also good. But because of this, there is a actual header somebody gave in a file, which is coming, which is not right. So I'm saying skip rows equal to 1. Now you can see the row which has the real header, which is in a file, is completely gone. Means it depends on the scenario. Okay, any one of the property you may choose to use it. But all properties are very important here. Even additionally, we can also choose the data types. But right now, not much important. Okay, even you can also use the data types, like what type of data types you want. Like you can use str, you can use integer, and all those columns also you can use using a property called d type. And this you have to give it in a, this we can see tomorrow. Okay, but d type you can give it. Okay, I need to type, so we'll take it tomorrow. Additionally, you can also choose, like so far we have been using this, right? So even apart from that, you can also use index column. Again, not important, but you'll also have a property called index underscore column, index underscore call, and you give column name. So that column will be used as a column index. In case if you want to do some operations over there. Okay, but overall, these three what you are seeing are very important, or explanation or a knowledge of that is very, very important. Okay, and if in a nutshell, if you want to see, right, you can see by default, it is using all these data types. D type you can see. EMP name, object is nothing but internally it is string. So if you want to change it to str, D type, which I told mentioned here, that you can use it. And if you see the data type info, it will tell you all that information. It is equivalent to your describe command in your databases. So in case how you to finally conclude all that previously whatever we have tried to create and use for sample data, right? So far till yesterday, it is only for our quick analysis and then learning the function purpose. Ultimately, you end up reading data in pandas from the any one of the file CSV pipe or tab or fixed width. And then if you have two files, you will be joining them. Or additionally, Python also can support if you have some tables in Oracle database. So now I have two tables in Oracle database, and I want to read and then join two tables and then do some processing. Or I have one file in I have one table in Oracle database, And example take EMP table is in Oracle database. And we have DEPT as a CSV file. And I want to join them. So in a normal scenario, the CSV file has to be inserted into Oracle database, and then you can write a query to join it. And then final result, you can paste it somewhere. But if you are using Python, right, you can directly read data from Oracle database, and you have a libraries that also we can see maybe in next coming classes. So there are many libraries, okay, which can help you to read data from a database, either in Oracle database or MySQL. We have some MySQL, right? We can try to read from MySQL. So when it is reading data from MySQL or Oracle database, the data will come and sit in Pandas as a data frame only again. So all the input to Pandas will come in the form of data frame. So again, similarly, how we have coded for CSV, read data from DEPT file, and that also will become data frame. And then yesterday we have seen how we can join two data sets. You can use merge operation, and then you can join both EMP DEPT because both common form is data frame. And join result, you can keep it stored somewhere. So always pandas are a Python, not only pandas, Python. Python always expects data to be in data frame, and then on top of data frame, so many libraries we have. We can see. Or ultimately, you can also have a series. If not panda, not data frame, you can also have a series. But series is a single dimensional. Okay, but the data frame is a multi-dimensional. You can do all querying and everything you have been seeing slowly, right? So all that you can do. How, if you can imagine what work, how it is going to do. So you will get data from files, or you will get data from a database tables. You have to read them and process them and do it something. Or if you are planning to use machine learning, this data, if you are planning to use for machine learning, and you read data from pandas, and then pandas supports all these functions, right? You have to clean up your data and then sanitize the data, mock up the data. And once your data feed is ready, on top of the data feed, you will be running the data model. You will be running the algorithm. So if you are working on, I'm frankly telling, if you are working on ML, the amount of effort you spend will be more in pandas than the machine learning algorithm, because the lot of data prep work you have to do before applying algorithm. All algorithms expect data in certain standards and certain formats. So all the prep work will be doing a year only, and then simply applying one machine learning algorithm. So it is just a one-line code. But lot of business knowledge, lot of knowledge required over there. But here a lot of technical knowledge is required to prepare the data. So that's why it is very, very important here. Reading from a file, reading from a database, very, very important. Okay. The rest we'll see tomorrow.